Hello, dear aquarist, and especially you, the discus lover. Again, a video on a diseased discus fish. Yes, discus fish are very popular, and those people that like to keep discus in good conditions, they watch my videos very often. It's very popular for them to look at the internet and try to solve the problems with discus fish. So I hope my videos contribute to the discus lover to find out what can cause certain diseases or problems with the discus fish. And today it's about a discus fish that had large holes in the head and split fins. Two things which are, well, very widely discussed in the discus community. Fish diseases, prevention, diagnosis, and control. Well, yes, you can find a lot in my books also about the discus diseases. And here we had the discus. You can see the holes here in front, on the head, at the side here, at the gill cover. And at the same time, you could see the split fins here. You could see the tail and the anal and even the dorsal fin, the pectoral fin, all having some problems. Let me show you again. Here you can see the holes. Here are some holes, here are holes, and there are bigger holes. Yes, it could be lesions from previous infections, but still, it's something that brought up to my attention when this case was presented to me. In the gills, the first thing we examined, we found a lot of black pigmentation, which means there is a history of stress, maybe pollution or disease or chemical treatments. This is not normal. It should be nice red, dark red colors, but not as black pigmentation. That means it has an impact on the quality of the gills. The organs inside, we found a very bad spleen. Look at the melanoma-macrophage centers, and we found tubercles in the organs. Some organs had tubercles. We took out the intestine, and we see the obstruction in the intestine. You see how it's blowing up here, and that means there is a obstruction. It should be not so enlarged. That's something should be more looking like this kind of intestine. We took the three different parts of the intestine for preparation to do a microscopic examination. And in some parts, well, we found parasites moving around the flagellates spironucleus. You can see here all the tiny bugs moving around in the fluid that's coming from the excrements. Here is some excrements, some parts of the, and here we saw much more flagellates in other parts. You could say that in some parts of the blocked part of the intestine, we find a lot of parasites because it looks like the parasites are causing the blockage of the excrements. And that's why the food is not passing through. So a disruption of the microbiome and the gut flora. At the same time, we found also other parasites. We found some spironucleus, but also we found the tiny slender ones, which are moving here, the thin ones, which is most likely Cryptobia parasites. So two different types, look at them here, which are moving quite differently than the spironucleus. Here we see more other flagellates, which looks like Cryptobia. You can see how they're moving and they're more elongated. They are different behavior. So we found two types of parasites here in this kind of discus, in this kind of intestine. Here we see the mix of flagellates and other parts. So I'll show you the different parts of examination and the different findings of parasites. At least we could determine there are different flagellates causing a problem here at the same time with a bacterial infection. So the treatment for this kind of discus, you have to understand, like I explain in many of my videos, you can look them up in my playlist of discus, that the head and lateral line syndrome and the split fins are usually secondary lesions due to internal infections. And that is something you should be aware of before the fish get bad large holes that you intervene with appropriate actions. Here we found that the organs were bad. Some had tubercles, maybe Mycobacterium, and other bacterial infections. Usually there is not only one bacteria, but usually 2 or 3 different bacteria causing bacterial infections. The treatments with antibiotic or antibiotics, different ones, and metronidazole could be a help. Ask your fish doctor. I have some recommendations in my books for the treatments. And you can help the discus with a functional fish food that helps during the disease and improve the immunity, like our Dr. BASSLEER, a biofish food Lapacho, specifically developed for this kind of cases. Read my books, get your training and your information from my fish doctoring at my Patreon. We have specialized training for you and more cases to come. I can show you here if it opens. Well, it's not opening yet. You can go to that link. Well, here I show you when it's opening my Patreon channel that you can be, well, have the adequate information for your training. It's loading. Sorry, it takes some time. Internet is a little bit slow today because it's today very cold. So it's teaching fish doctoring, and I have different membership possibilities where you can get your training. You can, well, how can I say, become a more professional. I give fish different fish diseases. I have different memberships. You can show here for a VIP training, or you can have help for quarantining marine or freshwater fish, or you can request the help of a Zoom. So this is something separately I showed you at the end of my case, which I showed you about the discus, which had some holes, had split fins. See my other video, subscribe, and go to the playlist of the discus so you get yourself acquainted with the problems that occur with discus fish. Thank you for watching.